the answer or writing it. You've got to train your mouth and brain to actually produce spontaneous speech fluently, coherently on different topics.
Right. Another great tip, record yourself speaking, then listen back and evaluate your own fluency and clarity.
Oh, that's invaluable. It gives you objective feedback. You might think you sound fine, but a recording can suddenly reveal all the ums and ahs, or maybe repetitive phrasing or pronunciation glitches you just didn't notice.
Hmm.
It helps you pinpoint exactly what to work on. Maybe it's fluency, maybe coherence, maybe pronunciation.
The guide also suggests using different platforms for practice. It mentions things like BBC Learning English, TED Talks, even IELTS speaking apps, I guess because they have relevant material.
Yeah, those resources offer real world English examples and often have structured exercises that match the skills needed, like discussing current topics or analyzing viewpoints. That's great practice for parts 3 and 4, especially.
And to build that all-important lexical resource, particularly for abstract topics, the guide recommends reading articles and then practicing expressing your opinions about them.
That's a fantastic method. You encounter good vocabulary and context, and then you actively try to use it yourself when talking about complex ideas. It directly helps with topic development and the stimulus response parts where you need to talk about broader themes.
And finally, it explicitly says, practice picture description and interpretation exercises.
Yep. Targeted practice for part 4. You need to get good at quickly seeing details in a picture or graph, describing them clearly, figuring out what they imply, and then linking that to bigger ideas or your own views. Practicing with different kinds of visuals is key. Taken together, these tips really give you a clear practice plan based on how the test is actually designed.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean for you, the listener? Taking this deep dive into the Oxford Test Guide for the speaking module gives you a really clear picture of what's involved.
Mhm.
Understanding the four parts, the kinds of questions, including that really interesting link back to your essay, knowing the specific criteria they use to score you, and having those practical tips. It all builds a pretty solid roadmap, doesn't it? It should help you approach this test with more confidence.
Absolutely. Knowing exactly what skills they're looking for in each part, from the initial chat to discussing abstract ideas from a picture, lets you focus your study time much more effectively. It changes the test from being some kind of, scary unknown into a clear challenge with specific things you need to demonstrate.
Right.
And maybe this leaves you with something to think about regarding language learning in general. How does breaking down a test, or any skill really, into its specific parts like this, how does that change the way you approach learning and practicing it? Does knowing the criteria for success make you practice differently than if you just focus on, say, answering questions, something to mull over?
That's a great final thought. And that's all for this deep dive into the Oxford Test of English Speaking module. We really hope unpacking that guide has given you some valuable insights.